I would like to introduce our second last speaker now, Reinhold Eichinger and the Hutterischer Geschichtsverein have also supported this event, and we want to thank them for just being there, unterstützen, being part of this, and we want to hear about the other work that has been going on in Austria, the eastern part. The stage is yours.
So here is the next Austrian. The initial situation and motivation for us in Austria and in eastern part of Austria is my first part. You should know in the early phase, the Anabaptist movement left impressive traces in today's Austria. At the same time, now 20 years ago, the fate of this movement was virtually unknown to the general population in our country. Also the word Hutterite or Anabaptist, it was unknown. Until a few years ago, this also was true even for the majority of the free evangelical churches, the congregations in Austria. Astonishing, because many of the aspects of these free evangelical churches, of their doctrine and practice, go also back, some or many go also back precisely to this third wing of the Reformation. Personally, however, I was impressed by their courage to confess and their willingness to stand up for the truth with one's life if necessary. Inspired by initiatives from Tyrol, the decisive turning point came to us 2005, 2006, together with friends of faith from mostly free churches in the circle around from Vienna area. We founded the Hutterischer Geschichtsverein. The association aims to research and process the history and culture of the Hutterites, but also the other currents of the Anabaptist movements in Austria. The central concern is to bring the history of the Anabaptist, which has so far been largely hushed up, closer to a broad public. So our goal is broad public. The commemoration of the exemplary courage of faith of the Anabaptists takes place at concrete locations throughout Austria and should at the same time be understood and as a request and challenging today's contemporaries. In this still young history of our association, the Hutterischer Geschichtsverein, there are already some milestones, and now some examples for milestones. As first, this Täufer Museum in Niedersulz. After extensive and intensive preparatory work, the first Austrian Anabaptist Museum was opened, 2008. In the museum village, it's a whole village in Niedersulz. By the way, this permanent exhibition is not far from here. The river Mach, it's on the other side only, so here nearby. This large project could only be realized with the participation of numerous employees from the free church environment and students of the Evangelical Academy, EVAC, in Vienna. Also, among the construction workers were even Baptists of Texas. Yeah? In a so-called Kleinhäuslerhaus from nearby Wilfersdorf, where Hutterites had settled under the protection of the noble family of the Liechtensteiners in the Weinviertel, so nearby, the history of the Anabaptists from their beginnings to the present day is presented in 5 rooms. This type of small houses, a Kleinhäuslerhaus, also exist in Mikolov and other places where Anabaptists did not live in households. The preparation of the content using contemporary museum didactic aids and such as videos, audio clips, stations, and so on, made this museum 20 years ago attractive. This makes the Anabaptist movement visible and comprehensible for the first time as the integral part of Austrian culture and history. In addition to an introduction to their history, the focus is primarily on local history events. Furthermore, the craftsmanship of the Anabaptists, their importance in the field of education and medicine, as well as the language of the Hutterites are examined. The arc from the Anabaptist movement of the 16th century to the free churches of the present day is also presented. References is made to the hitherto unrecognized cultural influence on folk art, especially on the field of ceramics, and also fields of names in Lower Austria, a lot of Tyrolean names, for instance. A separate room is dedicated to the suffering of specific persons and groups as a result of persecution of the authorities. Board texts are in German and in English. Every year, about 20,000 visitors and more from all over Europe, also some Hutterites visitors came to Niedersulz. So it's not our job. This is running by the Museumsdorf Niedersulz. It's very helpful. Over the years, there have been more and more encounters with Hutterites from overseas. Anabaptists team days, we say Täuferthementage, in the Museum Village of Niedersulz on scientific topics, as well as guided tours enrich the offer. Specialist lectures by historians from the universities as well as experts from our own ranks will shed light on the most diverse aspects of Anabaptist history and also culture. Alexander Basner, a member of the association, has rendered outstanding services to the Anabaptist song and is a researcher and songwriter. Tomorrow he will come, I think, in the program. So some pictures from inside. This is a language station. Professor Schabus helped us changing the Hutterite language during the years. And this is the entrance room to this Museumsdorf Niedersulz today. So, next step, next milestone. Encouraged by the unexpectedly positive response to this museum, to this project, another permanent exhibition was opened on the ruins of Falkenstein, 60 minutes north of Vienna, not far from Nikolsburg. Under the theme from the galleys, from the galleys, from Falkenstein to the galleys. On Sunday 2011, on a Sunday 2011, the ceremonial opening took place, and in the afternoon of the same day, with the participation of about 500 people after a morning service, this museum was opened. So you have Falkenstein. So it was a big event, also with television, and so our goal to reach the society, our society is growing. Also representatives from church and politicians were there, also from science. This second big project, question of money, of the Hutterischer Geschichtsverein even received financial support, not so the first museum, financial support from the province of Lower Austria, the Federal Ministry of Education, Arts and Culture, also sponsored by a special media package of school lessons. It deals with the treatment of dissenters and persecuted minorities, growing up questions also for our time today. The use of same state of electronic museum education was particularly praised. Finally, the most extensive financial support came from the European Union Fund, European Regional Development Fund, most of the money. So it's a question, also a chance for the future. Our goal, because it is a connection between three nations, Czech, Slovakia and Austria. And this is a goal from European Union funds. The show in the so-called Anabaptist Vault. Okay, this is the Falkenstein choir. We have a lot of Falkenstein songs, and they prepared Falkenstein members, men prepared Falkenstein songs. So they sing at the opening ceremony. In the castle courtyard, a true scale replica of a galley hull is intended to commemorate these dramatic events of the years 1539 and later, which are also reported as in the Märtyrerspiegel, Martyr's Mirror, and so on. You know the Falkenstein story, and this was a co-production of the Höhere Technische Lehranstalt. A lot of schools have to work together and departments to build this galley. Through the use of illustrative, experience-oriented means, the young target audience is also taken into account, for example, through the possibility of grabbing a galley rather themselves. Many visitors are particularly impressed by a performance in the Täufergewölbe. This is also in Falkenstein, as an Anabaptist Vault is transformed in a hangar tower, allowing the fate of those looked up in such prisons to be relieved, at least to some extent. in a radio play, they are introduced to the story of Ursula Hellrieglin, a still young but steadfast Anabaptist lady. It's also special for school visitors and so on. Because despite the expulsion of the Hutterites after 1620, many of them remained in Eastern Lower Austria. This exhibition also points out the mixing of the Weinviertel population with Tyroleans. This is reflected in specific family names and in the culture of remembrance. Board texts are in German and in English and in Czech. This is a picture of the Täufergewölbe inside. The main history line is the story around the Falkenstein galley men. We have a lot of letters, songs, and so on. So this is one of the reasons free nations and working together, and it's also a reason for European fund help. So we could think more about possibilities in future. But now some success. Yeah, visitors here, a lot of Stahl brothers. I don't know the colonies, but we always have, also like in Tyrol, we have visitors from Canada, USA. This is also a product of our goals, a mobile Wanderausstellung. So throughout Austria, I think we have thousands of visitors, mostly pupils in schools and so on different places in different towns. Blacks, here Konrad Grebel in Vienna, Old University, you had a lot of blacks also in the eastern part, and in the south we made some blacks, and the goal is to connect, to bring this idea and to bring up questions about this movement and about these persons. This was especially, it was in the first district of Vienna, also with television, the way to the burning on the stake of Balthasar Hubmeier, yeah, with students and young persons, and so it grew up. It was helping to get interest in the Anabaptist questions. Also, television was there, so it's a goal to get Aufmerksamkeit. Also preparing books. We have some books. Here are some of our successful placement strategies. Let me tell it. Create a magnetically attractive aspect for the audience. For instance, such as the galley on a mountain. Yeah. And the result was, since the galley, the visitors are 10 times more than days before the galley, 10 times more. So they have every day open. In earlier days, they had only on weekend open. Create a magnetically attractive aspect. Multilingual boards or QR codes. Sorry. Yeah. For smartphones, which web links to other languages are useful and help. Local history points of contact. So it's important to show in our town, in this street, this happened years ago. So there's a local interest, and this is helpful. Consciously take up as many areas of interest as possible. This was our goal. in order to appeal to a wider audience, Genealogist, also Ahnenforschung und so weiter, those interested in languages, those interested in music, keyword Anabaptist songs, Höhlenforscher, people interested in folklore, Haban pottery, and so on. So a lot of different interest groups should be our goal. The target attention with the visitors for further local history information from the population that would otherwise never be accessible to research. So they give us also signals we never heard, and also in university level you couldn't find it because the local visitors, they bring new informations, papers, questions, materials. It's helpful with the local. Networking of several places of remembrance in order to enable meaningful excursion tours. The early involvement of broad sections of the population. So our goal was to involve a lot of different clubs, local clubs, schools, to help us to build this Falkenstein Museum. So we have a lot of persons and groups. They say this is our museum. Higher technical schools, a lot of them. Also one in for glass fabrication in Tyrol helped us. So they all say, we made it. It's not our own. And this is helpful for the future. The journey was exhausting, but now hundreds of people proudly consider this museum offer to be their own museum. Several clubs, several higher technical schools, I told, and so on. There was a design competition. Numerous students from about 7 HTL departments were involved. Among other things, in the creation of our QR code system also, the Falkensteiner men's choir learned historical Anabaptist songs. Local wine growers created a galley wine, a Falkenstein Galeerenwein, especially for them. Positive response from the population is the result. The number of visitors increased, I told. So the Hutterischer Geschichtsverein offer also guided tours of Vienna city, inner city center, against the background of Anabaptist history, early Anabaptist history. We have 23 names of martyrs executed in Vienna and places. Also, this is increasing. So let me come to the end. Back to our motivation behind. I do not feel so good only presenting deaf material in our museums, ceramics and different clothes and in our museums and so on. The Anabaptist movement began through the Holy Spirit, I think, with a spiritual reason, not with questions of stones and clothes and so on. With a spiritual reason, and there were men and women with a burning heart. And this is not possible to present in our museums. So I feel not good. But this is the center. This was the early beginning. We are living today in the midst of a society of men and women being between millions which does not know the history we heard all these days, and we've never heard some words from the early beginning. And let me quote at the end two men of this movement, Leonard Schimmer. He taught or wrote from other witnesses, they are free without bread, giving witness of the truth, that Jesus Christ is the truth, the way, and also the life. Leonard Schimmer. And Peter Riedemann later, this is the heart, I think. It's not possible in our museums to bring the heart. This is our role. We believe in Jesus Christ, quote Peter Riedemann, that in him is all our redemption and our salvation.